button, button. Who's got the button? Did you play that when you were kids? Or was it just our family? Where did that come from?
We played it when we were
Well,
little.
you're part of my family. I'm asking them.
I don't know. It was an older game. And you had a whole bunch of people in a circle, and you just went around like this with your button, and then you didn't know who dropped the button. I mean, the person that was dropping the button, you didn't know where they dropped it.
The droppee and the dropper.
Yeah.
So buttons. You know, it took me a couple of weeks to decide what I wanted to make for today's show.
I love buttons.
And actually, Heidi's the one who inspired me because I knew you would enjoy this. But do you ever have this design challenge where you just get stuck?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was getting stuck, and here's what I did. I went to my stash. I have those plastic square containers. And I just started looking in them, saying, what do I want to make? What do I want to make? And the buttons, they just popped out at me, and I thought, okay, what can I do with the buttons?
That happens to me all the time.
So I'd like to show you how I transformed just plain buttons into mixed messages.
Cool.
Here's a quick idea for creating a thank you box. The first thing that you will want to gather is some fabric. I'm using buttons on mine, a little metal box. You'll need glue and stickers. Now I'm using stickers today from SRM Press, and these are great because they just peel right off and stick on to your craft projects. The fabric that I'm using is a piece of scrap that was left over from a project that Heidi created on the Cool to Craft fabric show. So when I saw this in her stash, I knew I wanted to create with this. What she did is glued some pieces of scrap fabric together along with some yarn. So I'm going to utilize this area of this fabric scrap. To measure to size for my box, I just want to place that face down and line it up so that the fabric pattern design that's on the other side is exactly where I want it placed on my box. I just use a pencil to draw my pattern. So what this is going to do is it's going to tell me where to apply my glue, because I want to apply glue first so that my fabric doesn't fray. Alright, that looks good. I'm using the Aleene's Stop Fraying glue, and this prevents fabrics and trims from unraveling, so it's perfect to put right over that line. And then I run my finger to spread it out. I just need a real smooth, light coat of glue so I can still see my cutting line. But when I go to cut, it's going to keep this fabric from unraveling. The next step is to let this set for about 10 to 15 minutes until this glue dries enough that you can actually cut. So we're going to set this aside. The glue is dry, and what I did is I took a hairdryer to speed up the process of drying that glue. And now that it's clear, I can see that that means it's dry. And you can also just tap your finger into it and see if it's still sticky. What I want to do now is cut to the inside of our pattern line. That way I know it's going to fit on the top of the box. And since I used the Aleene's Stop Fraying, it's great because then the edge of this I can cut and it's going to keep a nice crisp edge. All right, so now we have the top. I'm going to double check just to make sure my measurements were correct. That looks great. So next we're going to apply our Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. And I like to use the technique that Eco Heidi taught us, which is using a squeegee to smooth that glue out. I'm going to go ahead and open up the lid because I want a little bit more glue to come out than what I would just get through the end of the nozzle. And I lay it on to a surface that I can easily clean up, like this cutting mat, or you can certainly put this on to paper, because when you start squeegeeing it, that glue is going to come off the sides. I'm going to spread this around just a little bit more here. I also have a wet wipe so I can keep my squeegee clean. So pull it along, and that gives you a nice even coat of glue. It's important on this that you get it all the way out to the edge. Now that I have one side covered, I move this to a clean spot on my work surface. Add a little bit more glue. Let me wipe this off here. Add a little bit more glue on to the fabric. And squeegee again. Quick and easy way to apply glue to back of fabric or paper that gives you a nice even coat. And now I can just lay this right on the top of my little gift box. What I love about this is that if you create some of this fabric in advance, it's really easy then to have, just pull it out of your stash, have it ready to glue on little giveaway boxes like this. I like to make these boxes up in advance so that I have them already made up to this step and then ready to personalize with my message depending on the occasion. The other thing that you will want to do, and also make sure you run your fingers all around the outside edge to make sure that that fabric is glued down securely. The other thing that you're going to want to do is put some fabric into the inside of your box. So in order to do that, you just need to trace the bottom of the box onto the piece of fabric. Do the same thing using the Aleene's Stop Fraying Glue. You can run a line of glue along the edge, cut it out, and glue it to the inside of your box. What I did to create the message is I pulled out some of my Blumenthal Lansing buttons, and as I mentioned, I am using stickers from SRM, and I'm using the back of one of these. And what's cool about this is that it doesn't matter that this is not round, because what you can do is just cut it to shape. So I'm lining this up, and as you can see, you're seeing the holes right in the middle of the buttons there, and that's okay. That didn't bother me. But what I do want to do is get it straight. So let me pull it back up a little bit. I'm going to turn it towards me so I can make sure it's straight. There we go. Use my finger to press that down. And I just use my scissors to round out those corners. So now I have my message right on my button. These are cute just like this, but I love to use my gloss over the top. And that's the 3D crystal lacquer. You can tell this is my bottle. I have my name on it. And I just use my 3D to go right over the top. And you're going to let this set overnight so that that glaze dries completely. Set it someplace where it's not going to get disturbed at all. No dust, no fingerprints, but fill all of that in. And set it aside to dry overnight. Another way that you can use the stickers and the button is on this one, this has an indentation that this little design fit almost perfectly into. So I'm just pressing that in. Press it down. Make sure it adheres all the way around. And then you just fill this up with your 3D gloss. So when this dries, then it's completely clear and is perfect to use on the top of your little gift box. So we might want to put a hugs message on the top, or just a flower design if you want to keep it a little bit more generic. But what you want to do is fill the inside of your gift box with little trinkets. Now, I know my sister loves buttons, so I'm going to put together a little button collection for her here inside this box as a thank you gift. I also picked up some vintage buttons. We're going to add those into our little thank you gift. If you have a little treasure, like this is my little cool to cast, this is a pendant, might want to put that in there so she has a little gift to wear. And we get to say thanks a bunch.